Greetings, everyone. Coming to you on 2/22/22, and we are, as always, the Truth Seekers.
Indeed we are.
And I'm here, lucky enough again, to be with my friend Erica Riesberg.
And I am lucky enough to be here with Dan Horton and our amazing guest, Gary.
Hi, all.
And before we go into what Gary does, which is pretty amazing, we've got to talk about how this whole thing came about, which is very Shasta synchronicity, 2/22. Talk about it how you will. It's pretty magical. We were talking about, I'm actually doing a show right now, which we're going to be filming later today, called Cosmic Travelers. And wanted to get Gary on that show as well. And Eric and I happen to have a meeting in Seven Suns, the local coffee shop. Free plug, so we expect free coffee. We just happened to run into Gary. And Gary is an amazing wizard with sound and frequency and moving in different dimensions. And for the show, the Cosmic Travelers show, we've been talking about starting off doing a sweat lodge so we could really move into spirituality and community together, and we would launch from there. But unfortunately, our good friend and fellow creator, Lauren Willow, has had an issue with her wrist, and so we have to wait to do that. But we ran into Gary, and Eric and I had been talking about wanting to interview Gary, and we're like, you know what, let's do it all on 2/22. And luckily Gary was available, so it all came together in a very synchronized fashion, and here we are. So I'm gonna let Erica take over here and kind of ask Gary a little bit about what he does. He can explain who he is, and later on we're gonna have an amazing sound sample for you, and you can take a journey and take a ride with us to the dimension of your choice.
So Gary, I had the opportunity to spend some time with you yesterday. And what I felt with your amazing sound system was a shift in my frequency. And I am so honored that you gifted me this. And I want to ask you how this came to you. Like, I know you have like a massive, amazing background, but like specifically for this, how were you gifted this vision and how did you start developing it?
Well, the nutshell version of it is that I had a friend, Amy Valentine Brooks in Berkeley, that calls me up at 10 o'clock in the morning, an hour before our famous tea shop, Teance, opens up for the day. And she says, I just had a profound something given to me, a download, or well, I need to talk to you. I'm like, okay. And I says, well, how serious is it? It's serious enough to where we're going to have to go drink connoisseur pots of tea until we figure this out. And I'm like, okay. So which these teas are between $18 a pot and $50 a pot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So basically we go in there.
Not Lipton tea.
Oh, no, this is wholly, one of these is even a 50-year-old puer that we ended with when we got the vision of what to do. So she says, Gary, we have to order the Phoenix duck shit, basically, or Phoenix yasai. Sorry, I don't know if this is with kids or not, but anyways, so we ordered that tea, and it was expensive, and we started drinking it, and then as soon as our third eyes open, I'm like, okay, I'm ready now to receive the download. Gary, I need to make the score of the universe. I'm like, excuse me, what? She says, that's why I had to call you in, because I don't even know what to do. I am Juilliard trained, I'm a pianist. I don't know what to do, but I was said that I had to give the score of the universe. And I'm like,
No pressure.
yeah, exactly. That's what she said. There's no pressure here, Gary. We'll just drink pots of tea until we figure this out. And I'm like, Amy. I says, okay. I got relatives who work in defense. I got people in NASA. I said, the first parts of this are very simple because we already have them. We have deep space, white and pink and black noise. I says, we could use that for the far out stuff. I says, dialing it back in, every planet makes a sound. We have hyper accurate, high resolution samples of that through NASA. We can get that. I says, now for the next parts of it, it gets a little bit more sticky. I says, we have recordings of comets, supernovas blowing up. I says, there's all these players that play. She's like, wow, Gary, this is amazing. I says, but now bringing this down to the planet we live on. I says, for some reason, I says, we could go out and we could record nature. I mean, there's a shotgun mic up there that I bought for this. And then I says, but the human element, that's got to be put to just a very few things. For human vocalizations, tube and throat singing and chanting. No more, no less. I says, and then I feel like we should use frequency things like singing bowls. She's like, I have 3 bowls. Very interesting thing going all the way around to about a year ago with that. So we gathered these bowls up one day, and we got this urge to go up to Muir Wood. I put the shotgun mic on a ridge, and I was able to capture through my Tascam over 2.5 miles of wind blowing through the trees. As you point the shotgun mic, it's so sensitive. You can hear it starting 2 miles back and then hear it blowing in close.
Wow.
And I says, wow, we just got this long range thing.
That's a wind tunnel.
That's a wind tunnel, yes, a
Yeah.
natural wind tunnel. Then we did something so profound, and we got interrupted by people, and we had to move. We went inside of a redwood tree with the singing bowls. I shot one shotgun mic up, one down, a condenser pointed at her. She played the bowl. Oh my God, it was almost as if the tree was talking.
Wow.
But again, we got interrupted. The ranger came over. We had background noise. Somebody was doing something in the woods that they shouldn't be, and that got in because these mics are so sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, we need a better recording place. Now this comes to the whole thing that we're sitting in right now. I go down to the desert. I was really, really intense. And my friends at the Crystal Fantasy Crystal Shop were like, Gary, you were very intense right now. What is going on here? I says, I need to record singing bowls in a perfect sound environment. They're laughing at me. They're smiling and laughing. I'm like, what is so funny? What? I said, you can't see the serious nature of this? Is there a cave out here I don't know about? Have you ever heard of the integratron? I'm like, the integratron? What the hell is the integratron? They're like, an hour away is the world's most perfect sound apparatus. Look it up. So that night, I went back to my hotel room at 11 o'clock at night. I opened up a computer and I started looking at it. And then for some silly reason, I saw this event thing. I figured in events, I would find how I could rent the thing. I said, this is really cool. I need to rent it. So I click on the events, and of course, Eric Rankin comes up. And then it talks about sonic geometry. In 3 weeks, we're doing one. We have spaces available. I'm like, and it says, before you even think about booking this, watch these 2 videos, sonic geometry, communicating the language and frequency of sound, and then communicating with the universe. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this stuff. I watched them. They're half-hour apiece. And then my mind got blown. I'm like, oh my God. This is all about geometric shapes being assigned frequency, creating beautiful harmonies and things like that. This is like the key to all existence. And then I started doing my own research, and then lo and behold, I look out the window and the sun's coming up. So I didn't get any sleep that night. I call Eric Rankin in the morning, and I book to come in. I go back to the store that day. I tell my friend Jen about what happens. They're like, oh, well, it's funny. We just unloaded a whole entire shipment of bowls. I still have 5 of those original bowls on this floor. They actually fit into this factor 9 grid. I was able to tell Eric Rankin, guess what? I have some bowls here that have to do with some of this stuff that was on your video. Would it be okay if I bring them into the integratron? I bring them. I meet with him. We have tea and all this stuff and do restructured water and blow his mind with that. I barely even know the guy. I set this stuff down. He gives me a few minutes before he does the grand thing with everybody up there on the top level. And what happened was really profound, because he said he had never heard any of the factor 9 grid numbers in pure harmonics before.
Oh, wow.
So we created a little major chord on the floor in there. And that's really where the trying to record the universe dropped off. It still hasn't happened. And then this started. I got obsessed with this. I was really working with Eric. I got everything that's on the floor in 3 years, except for some of these other big 22-inch ones. Those are newer. I met through my friend Christina Wells there. I met Beverly Wilson over at the Crystal Room. She's instrumental in 40% of the bowls on the floor. The other person I give credit to for bowls on the floor is David Gibson at Global Sound. I was led to him through Beverly Wilson because he had just got some neat things. The Super Bowl here on the floor actually went into Global Sound's big convention 4 years ago. That was its first debut. And only a few of these chimes were there. That's the whole thing too. This has an evolution of how it became about. And then the evolution ends with actually cracking the integratron. Eric has been working on that for years. We were let off a little bit because a UC Berkeley professor gave us the wrong geometry, gave us a dodecagon instead, which is 1800, which is over there, which we thought was the outer circumference of the integratron, which is actually 2520, which is a 16-sided double tabernacle. It's 2520, which is an E sharp 7 plus. And that's what that rack is right there, and what the little water restructuring unit on the floor is. It's the Genesis pattern harmonics. So that's what happened towards the end of this about 4 years ago, was solving the integratron.
Okay.
And then I met Randy Masters around that time, and then all the chimes that are in this room were custom built with his help. So all these frequencies on these chimes, the 20 or so of them that are up on off the floor, actually it's 12, are all the primary geometries of geometric shapes on the planet. And I call that the harmonic wall. It hasn't been used yet. The vision I had before the pandemic was to go up on the ski bowl with this entire chime system, which it has been up there and was birthed up there, with 500 to 600 people or light beings, and everyone vocally tones across the plane through this while it's being played, sending human frequency all over the planet to bring balance and peace. That's what this device was manifested for, out of the integratron. All this stuff started floating in 5D over my head during a sound bath in there. I had to interrupt what I was doing to draw it. It was really weird. I'm drawing this stuff on a little sketch pad while I'm supposed to be enjoying a birthday sound bath, but you know, that's how the universe works. It gives you downloads when you least expect it, or at the most inconvenient of earthly plane times.
A wizard's work is never done.
It's never done. But basically, this is my entire life in here. I mean, I've invested every dollar I have. This is my car, and well, I got cars now, but that came later. But I had to sacrifice everything to build this device. I mean, right now I give it a price tag of over $280,000 plus.
Wow.
But it is a one of a kind. There is nothing else like this on the earth. The way it was put together was a challenge. I mean, having to play 9,000 bowls just to get 46 of them. You know, and then these tubes take forever. They're made of off-campus materials. They're Syrian spaceship aluminum, and then the forks are half meteor, half Syrian spaceship aluminum, and that's what allows that harmonic envelope that I played for you. You play one or the other, and it's really quiet. You whack them together and put the two platonic solids or two geometric frequencies together, and just boom, it just lights the whole room up. Yeah, that's why. I mean, this stuff is very, very carefully made.
And from what I heard yesterday, it was like, I don't have words for how powerful it is. I went completely in my right brain and I could not articulate anything, and I still don't have words because it's just so powerful what you're bringing through.
And then one of the gifts that I was given from Archangel Gabriel through a channeling was had my whole entire vessel of my brain reprogrammed to be able to channel 4,000 angels from the 7th dimension to the 12th. And that's what I did with you when I gave you the vocal toning demonstration in the chamber yesterday. Because by playing that special Fibonacci that goes all the way up to 6120, which is if you take a line across the middle of the earth through the Giza complex and go out past the moon through the 345 triangle that comes off of Leonardo's cannon, you get 6,120 coming off of that axis, which goes right up into the 3600 to the 2880, you know, and then the 5040 across this way through the pyramids. So all those numbers are all represented in this one diagram, and all those frequencies I have. When you play them together, I mean, the whole room sort of starts to shapeshift. It's because as you get closer and closer, one frequency is missing, 3960. And I don't know what's going to happen when that fork arrives. That's the final one I need for that. And I don't know how it would play. It'd probably take 2 people. It's a lot of stuff. But playing all of these geometries that have been kept in mystery schools, kept secret for 40,000 of years. My astrologer said these harmonics have not been played on this planet in 20,000 years. So this is the first time in that time period they've all been assembled, because we have the technology yet again, because we're on the precipice of becoming Atlantis and Lemuria. And what I feel like, especially with truth seeking and what this is all about, is this is our next chance. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to learn from the past? Are enough of us going to remember what we did wrong? And this is our chance to make right of it and actually go into the glory of the golden light and where everyone has peace throughout the whole universe.
Well, that leads me to the question that I was thinking about is, where do you see everything that you've assembled here? And you know, we're on 222 right now, which of course a lot of people consider a big portal day, a big shift. Where do you foresee what you're doing and how you're doing it? We'll be able to shift the planet, let's say, in the next, you know, I don't know.
Well, I'll just lay it out. I'm going to lay it out in what I have had in visions over the last few weeks, really strongly. and I'll lay out the request. You know, there are people watching this that have great means. I was led here that out somewhere off of Old Stage Road was the parcel of land. There's a lot of neodymium under the earth there, and a massive aquifer system which flows into the Sacramento River. That's what makes the Giza Pyramid, what makes the integratron, which makes Stonehenge. That's what makes them all work. I have a aquifer from the Big Spring Hill coming through this house. There's neodymium under this house. This has a portal under it. I have a visual map of where it is. This whole neighborhood has it. That's why I guess Rob Potter and all them are here too. So this thing works because of all that. But out there it would be better because it's got more peace and quiet. This is a neighborhood. I got a neighbor that hates what I'm doing. There's interference is what I'm getting at. So it has to be out in nature. I had to build a dome for it, something like the integratron. It doesn't have to be the same thing. You know, it has to be 55 feet by 55 feet. I mean, I have projected out that it's going to be $3.5 million or something to do this. This stuff needs a temple. I keep having more and more visions as we come post-COVID of awakenings happening all over this planet, and everyone wants to migrate here to the root chakra to get to relearn who they are. Because after all this is over, people are going to be woken up in some way because it's beyond their even control, because the violet flame will hit the earth so hard, which is happening through the photon encounter. Eventually the sky's going to glow blue 24 hours a day when we hit the age of Aquarius. And that's when everything just collapses for all these dark beings. And we just go to the light, it's coming. But then everyone gets reborn again. It doesn't matter if they're 3 years old or 90 years old. And they're going to come here seeking. And that's the thing. This is what this stuff is for. It awakens pineal glands. It gets people going. It helps them get that first step. Like if you're from a Christian faith, you take the Holy Spirit on, you take on Christ or whatever, then you become reborn. And then you have people that help you, that read Bibles to you or whatever, and they help you get on your path to your whatever your spiritual line is. The same thing's going to happen here with just all the cultures all over this planet are going to be doing this. And I've seen it. Now, obviously, this living room is the most inappropriate location to cycle people around. I mean, in the 3D realm that we still are in, there's only so much that landlords and the police and all that are going to put up with. You know, I'm sitting on a stick of dynamite that's lit right now, if you will. But I really have faith. I mean, look, the faith I had to put in to build this. Who sacrifices their life and puts $260,000, $270,000 into something like this just because they believe in it? I mean, not that many people say, oh, I'm awake and I'm going to do a mission. But then do they really like give 150%? You know, and that's what I've seen that around here too with certain people. A lot of people haven't given their all to them, what they're doing with their gifts and talents. And it's like we're on the precipice right now where we're at make or break again. And it's like people have got to figure out what it is to go down the right path and do it. And it's going to take everyone up here. That's why this podcasting is so important and migrating around to everyone up here that does this work. Because literally we have to build a village up here.
We do.
Because we're going to have millions of people coming up here. I mean, I see it every day in a vision. You know, we got to all be ready to serve.
We do.
Yeah, it's up to us right now to really, you know, it's if they build it, they will come, right? But
Yes,
it's already
exactly.
built, and it depends on what we do with it, on what direction it's going to go
Yes.
from this point on. And you're such an inspiration in everything that you're doing, but also what you just said. I mean, that rings true to me too, because we all go through, you know, our doubts of faith. You know, if we're on the right path, right, and if you know if we're putting in enough or we're going in the wrong direction. But that's what I see building so strongly right now in this community up here is the collaboration, the creativity is really growing, and we're finding each other. And I think the more that we do that, and the more that we help each other selflessly without an agenda, that we can really move into that space, and we'll attract the right people here at the right time to make that grow.
Yeah.
And there's people in this room that I've known for years since I've been up here, and they've been working and honing their skills as well. But now it's like I hate to say this, the rubber has to meet the road now. I mean, we're at that point, and I'm really feeling it. And thank God everyone had time to practice what they're doing, practice their tinctures, whatever it is. But it's time.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why we're all. I was living in Portland last year.
Yeah.
I was literally drawn down here, and I was like, why? Now I know.
Yeah.
I didn't have any understanding, and I still logically don't have any understanding, but my heart knows. And as I'm being called into heart leadership, heart core leadership, I have to let that lead me. And it doesn't matter how tired I am, how many projects I'm doing, I have to be a leader through my heart. And you are leading through your heart. And I'm just so grateful that you're doing it.
Yeah, I've given it all to this. I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
Really.
I see that.
Well, we're going to get this out there, and I think, I can speak for both of us that, if there's any way that we can help you in the future, you can count on us to do whatever we can and to continue to get
Well,
the
if
word
we
out.
just get people in this living room, I mean, that's the real thing.
Yeah.
That's really where it is.
Well, that's a good segue.
Yeah.
Why don't we bring into your living room to people?
Yeah. That's really what this is about, is
Yeah.
the exposure at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people are just waking up all over this country and all over this world, and they don't know what they're waking up into, because there's so much deception right now and misleadings, and they could wake up to the wrong modality, and whoa, I mean, that would be a disaster.
Right. Well, do you want to share a little bit of your gift?
Yeah.
We would love that.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can. We're still in low budget production mode, so we're
just gonna flip the
We're just
camera
going to
over.
flip the camera because camera 2 didn't show up today. I don't know where camera 2 is, so we have camera 1. By the way, these wonderful people that you see over here, that's Lauren and Jameson, Kara and Noel, and we are all working together on the Cosmic Traveler project, which we'll be filming here shortly afterwards. All amazing souls doing incredible things here in Mount Shasta.
Okay, so we got this where we... Okay. So basically what you're going to hear two things right now. You're going to hear a very long Fibonacci spiral, which ends with this 6,120 hertz fork here. Very high frequency. And then you're going to hear this beautiful F sharp major chord, which is the original F sharp major chord that Eric Rankin poised at the integratron. So this will be it in its entirety with pitch perfect harmonics. Okay, so here comes the first one. So this is the Fibonacci that's in the little thing that's up there. It looks like a tennis racket. And then finally, every geometric shape on Earth. pure harmony sounds like and feels like.
Thank you, Gary.
Oh no, the thing's actually emitting ozone right now. I don't know if everybody can smell that or not.
I remember that from the last time I was in the chamber.
Well, you were the first person to ever set ozone off in this chamber, so.
That was unbelievable, an experience.
That's how we already know that Dan is the real deal. This chamber doesn't lie.
Wow, the resonance.
Well, you can see the difference between here and the storefront. The harmonics in here are so amazing, it focuses it. And plus there's a, we're so close to the aquifer and the neodymium, so that has something to do with it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the temperature's dropping in here.
Mm-hmm.
These tubes are freezing again. I mean, this has been the latest thing that's happened. I mean, you can almost feel like there's a toroid field of cold air coming out of this right now. Yeah. So something's happening in the quantum right now with this. So basically everybody's been cleared on 222.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next?
I think that's I don't have anything
Well,
else
you want to
say.
just sit down for one more second? We're just going to thank you and we'll
Yeah,
close this
okay.
up. What an experience.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you.
Oh, you're all very welcome.
Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for the sacrifices you've made. Thank you for your understanding of the unity consciousness that we all share. And your commitment to helping us remember.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you. And hopefully you enjoy being with a genuine truth seeker here today with us. We're so blessed and so grateful to be here with you, Gary. And can we tell everybody out there how they can maybe find you, or what a good way to get in touch with you would be?
Yeah, so you fill back here. I have these flyers that are around town. And you can probably see it right there. But that's the best way to get a hold of me, is with that phone number that's on there. So it's also I have a website called chakrarocket.com. And that's the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay, well, you heard it here. So I don't think we need to give you any more of a reason than this to get in touch with Gary. We've all experienced it together. And if you're not in the Mount Shasta area, come on up here and join us. We've got a lot of good stuff to do, and we could use your help.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for being with us, and until next time,
Namaste.
namaste, and keep seeking the truth. It's out there, ready to find you.